Okay, as always, we're going to start with Colossians 3:17. Whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all by Mashayach, Yahawashi, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by Mashayach, Yahawashi. So, tonight I'm going to go into Mashayach, Yahawashi, my big brother, hopefully your big brother, who the world falsely calls Jesus Christ. You know, people say you have to say Jesus Christ for people to understand who you're talking about, and that's not true. If you're in the spirit, you understand. If you're not, then you got to be explained to, you know, why do I have to say Jesus Christ? Come on. J was invented in 1630. It's being said over and over again. He didn't speak English. Joseph didn't. Mary didn't. Like you born. If you born, your mother and father, your father and mother speak English, they're going to give you an English name. More than likely. You speak Spanish, you're going to get a Spanish name. Our enemy's name. That's whose name we have. Deuteronomy 28:68 says, and the Most High shall bring you into Egypt again with ships. By the way, wherever I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen, and slave women. Bond women. No man shall buy you. I mean, buy is the old Quaker word, means to save or redeem you from a condition that the Most High put us in for not following him, not follow his rules and regulations, his laws, statutes, commandments. So here we are. So let's look at Luke 10:16. Luke 10:16. He that heareth you, heareth me. And he that despises you, despises me. And he that despises me, despises him that sent me. And who sent him? The Most High. The Most High sent him, Mashayach, Yahawashi. So, he's saying, hey, you hear me, you hear Mashayach, Yahawashi. If you rolling by Mashayach, Yahawashi, which I believe that I am, and a lot of us are in these last days. He said, he that heareth you, heareth me. You cannot hear him if you're not in the spirit or have the spirit of a Mashayach. If you're not Mashayach, you're saying what you're saying, you get a lot of information, but you ain't rolling with a Mashayach, Yahawashi. 1 Corinthians 3:23 says, and ye are Mashayachim. And Mashayach is the Most High. So he's saying, he that heareth you, heareth me. And he that despises you, despises me. If you roll it with him, if you Mashayach him. So when they despise you, they despise him. And he that despises me, despises him that sent me. Despise the messenger, you despise the Mashayach. You despise the Most High. He let you know. Straight up. People don't realize that because they caught up in emotions and feelings and all that stuff. Most I ain't dealing with no feelings. St. John 2:13. St. John the 2nd chapter and the 13th verse. This is all about a Mashayach, Yahawashi tonight, y'all. To the glory of the Most High. St. John 2:13. And the Jews' Passover was at hand, and the Mashayach went up to Jerusalem, and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves, and the changers of money sitting. It's the Passover. Number one holy convocation that we have as the Israelites. He went to the Passover. And Mashayach went up to Jerusalem where they had the Passover. And found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves, and the changers of money sitting. They hustling. They in there selling oxen, sold oxen and sheep and doves, making money, changing of money. But they not recognizing what you're gonna see he recognizes. It's the Passover. Go to Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. The Passover. Look what the Most High said. Let's read verse 1. Leviticus 23:1. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, speaking to the children of Israel, and said to them concerning the feast of the Most High. Not our feast, the feast of the Most High, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts, right? So we're talking about the Passover. That's when the Mashayach went to Jerusalem on the Passover, and you see them hustling in the church, trying to make money, trying to come up, selling this and selling that, as we just read. This is what he said next. He just said, proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. He said, 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest. And holy convocation, let you know, okay. He said holy convocation in verse 2. He let you know the Sabbath is a holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Most High in all your dwellings. Say, these are the feasts of the Most High. These are feasts of the Most High. That's what we're just reading about. The feast of the Most High. That's holy Passover. Even holy convocations, holy gatherings, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Most High's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Most High. 7 days ye shall eat unleavened bread. So it's letting you know that these feast days are what? Sabbaths. So you're not supposed to be selling. When you go to the scriptures on the Sabbath, you're not supposed to be selling. Especially up in the church on the Passover. Nah, that's wrong. Look, that's wrong. That's wrong. It's wrong. That's why it's mentioned so far. But let's go more into what's right according to how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to be doing that. That's wrong. For them to be up in the church selling and making money on the Passover. You could do it. You got 6 days, both sides said. Look at Isaiah 58:13. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Most High, honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thine own ways, not doing your own ways, what you want to do, what you normally do from day to day. Once that sun go down, once it get dark, it's the Sabbath. Not doing your own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words. Supposed to be talking about the word of the Most High. So they're not following that. Then thou shalt delight thyself in the Most High, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of the Most High has spoken it. There it is. So they're in error. And anyone else is in error. You had a Passover and you selling all these things. It's no different. No different. Going back to St. John, the 2nd chapter, 13th verse. And the Jews' Passover was at hand. We just read about Leviticus 23rd chapter. The Most High's feast days. And the Mashayach went up to Jerusalem and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves and the changers of money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small cords, when he braided these cords together, he drove them all out of the temple, and the sheep and the oxen, this their money, and poured out the changers' money and overthrew the tables, just threw the tables over and beat them, start beating them, and said unto them that sold doves, take these things hence, Make not my father's house an house of merchandise. See? And the disciples remembered that it was written, the zeal of thine house hath eaten me up. See? They remembered the scripture. That's why it says no New Testament. When you read the New Testament, there's only the law and the prophets. This wasn't put together during the time that they're saying what they're saying and seeing what they're saying, but they see prophecy fulfilled. They remember Psalm 69 and 9. For the zeal of thine house has eaten me up, and the reproaches of them that reproach thee are fallen upon me. See? And that's what the Mashayach brought forth as the ultimate Lamb of the Most High. All our reproaches fell upon him. But you see how they disgracing him? Disgracing the Most High? They are his feast days. You heard it say, my feast days. Go to St. John 6 and 26. St. John 6:26. Mashayach answered them and said, verily, verily, truly, truly, I say unto you, ye seek me, not because ye saw the miracles, but because ye did eat of the loaves and were filled. Because he had just fed them with a few loaves of bread. He said, labor not for the meat which perishes, but for that meat which endureth unto everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give you, for him hath the Most High the Father sealed. You see? That's the meat we're supposed to be looking at. And you can't find it nowhere but understanding these scriptures. Then said they unto him, what shall we do, that we might work the words of the Most High? Excuse me. Then said they unto him, what shall we do, that we might work the works of the Most High? Mashayach answered and said unto them, listen, this is the work of the Most High, that ye believe on him whom he hath sent. The work of the Most High is to believe on a Mashayach Yahawashi. They said therefore unto him, what sign showest thou then, that we may see and believe thee? What dost thou work? Say, show us a sign. We're supposed to believe you. Remember what it said. Verse 26. Mashayach answered them and said, verily, verily, I say unto you, ye seek me, not because ye saw the miracles, but because ye did eat of the loaves and were filled. So, I mean, you gotta understand this. And that's why we're blessed to have not seen and still really believe. Because when you go to last book of John, and it tells you in St. John 21 and 25, mind you, they're with him. They're with him. They seeing this. St. John 21:25, and there are also many other things which Mashayach did. He didn't do it in secret. He did it right in front of their face. The which, if they should be written, every one, I suppose that even the world itself could not contain the books that should be written. It was right there with them. And still didn't believe. See, that's why it's so prevalent and so honorable to know that We have that opportunity, and some don't take advantage of it. You can't be slack in your faith, in knowing that He's given us this opportunity. It's not given to everyone, but He's given us this opportunity. But it says the righteous scarcely going to be saved. Why? Because He asks. He wonders if there's going to be any faith on the earth when He come back. People are going to be following the way of the world, locked into whatever it is that the world offers, and lose, and continue to lose. You can win now, but you got to endure to the end. And in the end, you want favor. That's the ultimate. We want favor. And the favor comes with the Most High. You know, putting us under His wings. Putting us under His wings, and when everything go down, we can look and say, wow, man, just praise Him and praise Him and praise Him, because we made it. He said we're going to be scared. He said everybody going to wail. But we're going to give praise to Him. That's why if you're not doing it now, you better start. That's why you said, hey, you despise Him, you despise the Most High. Despise the messenger, you despise the Mashayach Yahawashi. Those that's rolling with a Mashayach Yahawashi, everybody not rolling with a Mashayach Yahawashi. He said, you confess me before man, I confess you before the Most High and the angels. But if you don't, you're not with Him. He ain't down with you. That's why I say all that say, Mashayach Yahawashi, not going to enter to the kingdom of heaven. Those that do the will of the Most High, which is in heaven. His will is to believe on His only begotten Son. Because you can't even reach the Most High. Go to Matthew 7:28. Matthew 7:28. He said that in John 14:6, no man cometh to the Father but by me. John 7:28 and 29. And it came to pass, when the Mashayach had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at His doctrine. When He said what He said, they were astonished. They was, what? You know? Go back to what He said. Go back to verse 24. Say, therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man. You hear His sayings and you do them. So I'm going to liken him to a wise man which built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. See, you see houses today, buildings, they build upon that cement. They put that slab of cement on the bottom, and they build them up from there. But when the flood came and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. That's looking at it carnally, the rock, and we look at it spiritually as 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 1. We're going to concentrate on verse 4. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant that how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea. Talking about we the Israelites coming out of Egyptian captivity, going through the Red Sea. And we're all baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea. And did all eat the same spiritual meat. And did all drink the same spiritual drink, the spiritual. For they drank of that spiritual rock. Not an actual rock that we speaking of here, that the house is built upon, that could not be thrown down. Verse 4, and did all drink of that same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Mashayach. So, when you understand being built upon the spiritual rock, the house here is carnal in Matthew the 7th chapter, but it's spiritual also. When you look at it as being built upon the foundation, who is the Mashayach Yahawashi, who is that spiritual rock, you're going to be able to stand. But if not, then you're going to fall. Let's continue with Matthew 7:26. And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not. You don't want to follow what he say? Remember, he's who? The word of the Most High. The Most High have a voice. And a voice brings forth what? Words. Most High always say, hearken to what? My voice. He always say, hearken to my voice. So with his voice came words. And the words that came from the voice of the Most High is the Mashayach Yahawashi, bringing forth the word of the Most High. Most High is the Spirit. They that worship him must worship him how? In spirit and in truth. So he's right there as a spirit. Of who? Of the Most High. But that's why it's simplicity of a Mashayach, but you can miss it because you're trying to be too deep when it's real simple. That's why verse 26, and everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon the sand. A foolish man gonna build his house upon the sand, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. See? So we gotta come with something carnal so we can relate. But you hear what the spiritual rock is, and who the spiritual rock is, Mashayach Yahawashi. So you build upon that foundation, you're gonna be able to stand. But you gotta know how to. You can't just think it's just gonna come out of the sky and all of a sudden now I got it. No. You gotta be learning of this continually. But in the house is your body. Your house is your body. And see, these are the things that's mysteries that people can't relate to because they don't know precepts. They don't understand how it's coded so that everybody don't get it. Or else you would know this. Look, talking about that house. 2 Corinthians, the 5th chapter. Verse 5. Chapter 5, verse 1. For we know that if our earthly house, let's let this closely. For we know that if our earthly house of this tabernacle were dissolved. So your earthly body is talking about our physical bodies were dissolved. We have a building of the Most High. In house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. See, I'm just showing you how he's saying house, and you can just think only of someone building a house and having the rock for the bottom, the foundation of the house. If you never look at it spiritually, that's why it's a lot of study, a lot of things that you have to look at in learning the truth. And when you start seeing it, it becomes simple. Easy. But you see here? So if you build your foundation with the Mashayach Yahawashi, you're going to be all right. That's what he's saying. Verse 2. For in this we groan, earnestly desiring to be clothed upon with our house which is from heaven. See? That's your body. Most High have a body. We long to be clothed with that body that the Most High have for each and every one of us in heaven. Whether it's a body that's going to be thrown in the lake of fire, that spirit, put that body on that spirit and to be thrown in the lake of fire, or the spirit that gets the body that is saying we grown to be clothed with our house, which is from heaven. If we are blessed to be able to see everlasting life, that's what we should be working toward. So, hopefully you see those two analyses, the carnal and the spiritual. That's why you can't look, that's why if it was that way, then it would be, why they don't explain it that way? You get understanding through the precepts. Going back to Matthew 7 and 28. Now, if you build your house upon the sand, it said, with no foundation, you're not building your body upon the foundation of Mashayach Yahawashi, then you're going to fall. You're going to fall every time. Matthew 7:28. And it came to pass, when the Mashayach had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine. They were just amazed at Mashayach Yahawashi dropping it. For he taught them as one having authority, and not as the scribes. So the scribes didn't teach as having authority. So that's why I say, when you look at who he really is, you got people that want people to be a certain way, like this gentle type of way that they would want us to be, because a lot of people afraid of us, especially Israelite man. Then you got the woman wants you to be all gentle and soft, and however they figure you should be like another woman or something. No, that's not going. But he taught them as one with authority. He was austere, meaning hard, stern, precise, perfect. He was an example. And he also was very meek and humble and kind also, and loving and all of that. It's amazing how people will want you to be a certain way, but they ain't even that way themselves. Don't even see themselves. It's crazy. But it's real. It's real, because you know people that's like that. Go to Revelations 1, the first chapter. Revelations 1 and 1. This is how everything is broken down. This is how it comes to us. Always and forever. Revelation 1 and 1. The revelation, the revealing of a Mashayach Yahawashi, which the Most High gave unto him. Remember I told you, the Most High have a voice. Mashayach Yahawashi is the word of the Most High. Not only that, I mean, when he come back, who he gonna be? It said the Most High, revelation, the revealing of a Mashayach Yahawashi, which the Most High gave unto him. The revealing of a Mashayach Yahawashi, which the Most High gave to a Mashayach, which the Most High gave to a Mashayach. The Most High have a voice, and from a voice comes words. Who is the Mashayach Yahawashi? Revelation 19 and 13. This is a Mashayach Yahawashi, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and you can find out whose blood in Isaiah the 63rd chapter. And his name is called the Word of the Most High. See? We know John 1:1 says, in the beginning was the Word was with the Most High, and the Word was Mashayach Yahawashi. It says God, but the Most High called him God. You know, if you want to look at it for real, but he's not the Most High. He called us gods, but we little G's, but we got powers. We have powers. When you tap into a Mashayach Yahawashi, to tap into the Most High, to receive the power of the Most High, you're going to tell me that ain't spiritual power? From the Most High? So this is how it all goes down. Revelation 1:1. The revelation, the revealing of a Mashayach Yahawashi, which the Most High gave unto him who was a Mashayach Yahawashi. The Most High gave it to a Mashayach Yahawashi to show unto his servants who are the children of Israel. Isaiah 44:1 and 17. Things which must shortly come to pass, and he sent and signified it by his angel. So that's prophecy. Things that must surely come to pass, that's the future. And how did he do it? He sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John. See? So he sent and signified it by his spirit, which is an angel. By his angel, which is a spirit. Spirit of the Most High. Angel of the Most High. You see this in the Old Testament all the time. That's who came to Moses in the bush, who bear record of the word of the Most High, who bear record of the word of the Most High. Verse 1 and 1, the revelation of a Mashayach Yahawashi, which the Most High gave unto him. So the angel came to the Hebrew Israelite, John, verse 2, who bear record of the word of the Most High, and of the testimony of Mashayach Yahawashi, and of all things that he saw. So it says, blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. So this is prophecy. That's what he told him in verse 1. That's what he told him in verse 3. Prophecy. So now, when you look at verse 11, it says, well, let's look at verse 10. He said, I was in the spirit on the Most High's day. What day is that? The Sabbath day. And heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet, saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last. And what thou seest, write in a book, and send it unto the 7 churches which are in Asia, unto Ephesus, and unto Smyrna, and unto Pergamos, and unto Thyatira, and unto Sardis, and unto Philadelphia, and unto Laodicea. Send them to them 7 churches. And I turned to see the voice that spake unto me with me, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks. That's why you see the menorah. 7 golden candlesticks. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, who was a Mashayach Yahawashi, clothed with a garment down to the foot. So he had a long robe on down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. Had a golden girdle around his waist. His head and his hairs were white like wool. Oh boy, they go crazy about this one. White like wool, fully gray, just like my beard. But the texture of it is wool. His beard and the hair on his head were white like wool. As white as snow, fully gray, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. So his eyes is a flame of fire because he's prophesying about the future. He already came. At this time, when you met John on the island of Patmos, this is approximately 90 to 96 AD. This is almost 60-some years after he died, rose on the 3rd day, walked the earth for 40 days and set it to the right hand side of the Most High. So his eyes are as a flame of fire. You know, it was prophesied that his eyes would be as a flame of fire, would be red like fire. You know, why is that? Why does it say that? Go to Genesis 49. Genesis, the 49th chapter. And pick it up on Judah. You know, Hebrews 7:14 says, for this evidence of fact that our power, Mashayach Yahawashi, sprang out of Judah. So Genesis 49 and 10, it says, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet. Because Judah is the lawgiver. Until Shiloh come, was the peaceful one, of Mashayach Yahawashi, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. So the people will be gathering to Mashayach. If you're not, then you ain't gathering according to thus say the Most High. Binding the foal unto the vine, and his ass's coat unto the choice vine. He washed his garment in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. So we there because it says his eyes shall be red with wine. So that was fulfilled, I believe, in Matthew 11:19. As far as his eyes being red with wine, what's the first miracle that he done? He turned water into wine at the marriage. Matthew 11:19. The Son of Man, who was Mashayach Yahawashi, the anointed Savior, came eating and drinking, and they say, behold, a man gluttonous, like to eat a lot, and a wine bibber. There it is. His eyes shall be red with wine. And a wine bibber. He had to do something, shoot. The way Israel get on your nerve, you see, Moses didn't make it. He got a chance to see the promised land because Moses told him, hey, speak to the rock. He hit the rock twice. Must we bring water forth? Nah. You better give all glory and praise to the Most High. If you're not, you better start doing it. Better learn how to say praise the Most High. Thinking you doing something yourselves. That's why Matthew 11:19 said, the Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, but behold, a man gluttonous and a wine bibber, a friend of publicans and sinners. But wisdom is justified of her children. A friend, not associate, a friend of publicans and sinners. So going back to Revelation, the first chapter. Now that we know why his eyes were as a flame of fire, one reason why they are, another reason because he's going to be mad as ever, coming to do what? Judge and make war. Now verse 15. And his feet, and you know your feet is the same color as your whole body. Like unto fine brass. Brass is the derivative of brown. But how did this fine brass derivative of brown look? As if they burn in a furnace. Now you burn something in a furnace, you know it's going to turn very, very dark. Very, very dark. He was a very, very dark-skinned man. I don't know why our people be so quick to say, oh, it ain't about color. It ain't about color. Why it gotta be about color? But yet and still, they don't cry about this. They ain't crying about this. They'll cry about, like I said, his feet, like in the fine brass burning in the furnace. They don't cry about this though. They ain't crying about this. So it ain't about color. Why? I see a whole lot of colors on this picture, don't you? So is this the truth or is it a lie? You make the call. Is this the truth? When you have Caesar Borgia right there. Got Caesar Borgia both times in this picture. There he is right there. There he is right there. Right there. Right there. And right there's the old man. There goes the father right there. Rodrigo Borgia right here. There he is over here. Right there. There he is again. Right there. Here's his brother right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Here go his mother. His mother right there. That's a woman. And there go his sister Lucretia sitting right beside him. How about that? Look at it. Why aren't y'all exposing that? I mean, I say it all the time, they have it on Showtime. You can go to YouTube. Punch in the Borgias. Borgia. Yes. Family, there's only 5 people in that picture. Expose that, brothers. It always brings attention. But nobody crying about that lie. One of the biggest lies ever told. When you just heard his feet like a defined brass if it burned in the furnace. You represent him, you better represent him right. As if they burn in the furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. Strong voice. Let's see. Israel want this Gentile man. Ain't gonna be like that. Y'all better recognize. Go to Matthew the 12th chapter. Before you go to Daniel's, since I'm going over this, the way he look, go to Daniel. Daniel had a vision of a Mashayach, Yahawashi, Daniel's 10, 5, and 6. Now that we know that his feet like a defined brass, if they burn in the furnace, then Daniel 10, 9, and 6. No, 5 and 6, Salakia. Daniel's 10, 5, and 6. You have to bear with me. I had a long. Daniel's 10, 5, and 6. Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz, the best gold. Fine gold of Uphaz around his midsection. His body also was like the beryl. Now, some brothers want to say beryl means green, but I looked up beryl, it said brown. Check that out. Believe this. His body, that's your body, also was like the beryl, brown. And his face as the appearance of lightning. Why did it say his face as the appearance of lightning? Go to Ecclesiastes 8 and 1. This is my big brother. This should be your big brother. Mashayach Yahawashi. Ecclesiastes 8 and 1. Who is as the wise man, and who knoweth the interpretation of a thing? A man's wisdom, which is the proper application of knowledge, maketh his face to shine. And the boldness of his face shall be changed. But you see, a man's wisdom maketh his face to shine. So going back to Daniel's 10, 5, it says in verse 6, his body was also like the beryl, like brown. And his face as the appearance of lightning for all the wisdom that was illuminating from him. And his eyes as lamps of fire. Now we know he drank a little yaya, a little wine. He was a wine bibber, they called him. And they're going to be red because he's coming back to judge and make war. Angry as ever. Wouldn't you be angry? From the time they painted that picture, 1492, all the way to now? It's still in existence and people still believe against him. So Daniel, look what he's saying. And his arms and his feet. So Daniel seen his arms and his feet. Like in color. So color is in the Bible. Color is in the Bible. To polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. You see? A very, very strong voice. So color is in the Bible. We know that color is he look like his feet like the fine brass that they burned in a furnace. But Daniel see his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass. And we know that brass is like it burned in the furnace, Revelation 1:15. Matthew 12:1. Matthew 12:1. All about a Mashayach Yahawashi. To the glory of the Most High. Matthew 12:1. At that time, Mashayach Yahawashi went on the Sabbath day through the corn. He went through the corn on the Sabbath day. Seventh day of the week. And his disciples were all hungry. They were hungry. And began to pluck the ears of corn and to eat. So they started plucking the ears of corn and eat. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto him, Behold, thy disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day. So they can't do that. It's a Sabbath day. They can't go there and pluck these ears of corn on the Sabbath day and eat them. But he said unto them, Have you not read what David did when he was hungry? And they that were with him? Have you not read what David did? Talking about King David. And his men when they were hungry, what they did. How he entered into the house of the Most High and did eat the showbread, which was not lawful for him to eat, neither for them which were with him, but only for the priests. So don't you remember that? Remember when David did that? Or have ye not read in the law how that on the Sabbath days the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are blameless? But I say unto you that in this place is one greater than the temple. He says, I'm telling you right in your face that a Mashayach Yahawashi is greater than the temple. But if ye had known what this meaneth, if you understood what this means, he said, I will have mercy. I wouldn't give you a due to you what you do desire. And not sacrifice. You would not have condemned the guiltless. So if you knew who I was, you tell them, if you knew who I was, so I would have mercy. And you would have to condemn the guiltless. For the Son of Man is the master even of the Sabbath day. So I have power over the Sabbath day through the power of the Most High. And when he was departed thence, he went into their synagogue. And behold, there was a man which had his hand withered. So you see, that happened on Sabbath. But this didn't happen over and over again. David didn't go into the temple being hungry every Sabbath and eat the showbread. This just happened that they were hungry and they went and they plucked the ears of corn and ate. And he told them, say, for the Son of Man is the master even of the Sabbath day. Of Mashayach Yahawashi. And when he had departed thence, he went into their synagogue. And behold, there was a man which had his hand withered. And he asked him, saying, Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath days? That they might accuse him. See, they trying to set him up. Saying words to him to try and accuse him of sin. Breaking the Most High's laws. And he said unto them, What man shall there be among you that shall have one sheep, and if it fall into a pit on the Sabbath day, you got one sheep, and it fall into a pit on the Sabbath day, will he not lay hold on it and lift it out? Won't he grab that sheep and lift it out of that hole? You only got one sheep, and it fall into a ditch, it fall into a pit on the Sabbath day, he gonna try his best. And you gonna get that sheep out of that pit. How much then is a man better than a sheep? Wherefore is it lawful to do well on the Sabbath days? Then said he to the man, stretch forth thine hand. And he stretched it forth, and it was restored whole, like as the other. See? But you have technical people that are just like this. Now, this isn't something that he did every Sabbath day, but he did things to show us, give us an example of what we can do, if necessary. You know, but you don't make no habit of it. You don't do this over and over again. You won't see where he did this over and over again. So listen how the Pharisees reacted. Verse 14. Then the Pharisees went out and held a council against him, how they might destroy him. But when the Mashayach knew it, he withdrew himself from thence, and great multitudes followed him, and he healed them all. See? And so, you see, it was something about a power trip. You know, that's why he make himself no reputation. He didn't have to. You see, great multitudes followed him. And he healed them all. And charged them that they should not make him known. Charged them that they should not make him known. So it ain't about no popularity with him, or should be with us. But, you know, there are some that look at this in a different way. Look, go to, get Philippians. Philippians, the 2nd chapter, verse 5. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Mashayach Yahawashi. It's all about Mashayach Yahawashi tonight, to the glory of the Most High. But he said, let this mind be in you, which was also in Mashayach. And if you have that type of mind, then you could be what the scriptures call a spiritual man. Because look, go to